Well, I'm Brian here in England, and we are at Quarry. What's it called? Quarry Bank Mill. It's been a harrowing experience, but we finally made it. So let's go see what the mill is all about.
It is the Quarry Bank Mill, and it is located near the Manchester Airport in Cheshire, England. Built in 1784 to spin cotton, it is one of England's best preserved textile mills, surviving from the time of the Industrial Revolution. Built on the banks of the River Boyne, the river was the original source of power that operated the mill machines and equipment. The mill was expanded several times throughout its history to what you see today. First powered by water wheels, the original mill mainly spun cotton into yarn and thread. Later on, the water wheels were replaced with water turbines, and looms were installed to weave thread into fabric. Eventually, water power was abandoned in favor of steam engines. This is the weaving shed, crammed full of noisy, clanking looms. And this is with only 2 looms running. Imagine what it must have been like with all the machines running. Overhead, you can see the drive shaft, which was originally turned by the water wheel at the end of the building, but now turned by a steam engine. This machine is spinning thread and winding it up onto spools. The wide leather belts is how power was transferred from the drive shaft to the mill machines. On the next floor are these large carding machines, which are used at the start of the milling process. They were used to disentangle and align cotton fibers into what is called roving, in preparation for spinning it into yarn and thread. This young lady is feeding roving through this large multi-spindle spinning machine.
All the bobbins will get full at the same time. Yeah, so then you would switch the machine off, reset the gears to tell it where it's up to. When these run out though, you can swap them when it's going. So I'm going to be putting this one on again. So I'm just going to try and repair this end.
This will give you an idea of just how many threads make up the warp on a piece of fabric. Each is hand threaded from an individual spool into the back of the loom. Large bales of raw cotton were brought into the mill from the nearby port of Liverpool. They would be unbundled and start the process of being spun into thread, and then the thread woven into fabric. Here is a carding machine in action. You can see the cotton roving cut into separate rows, slowly making its way out of the machine. And then rolled into this thick, rough thread, which will be spun into a thinner, more refined thread. This is the mill's power source, the water wheel, the interior of it to be specific. When water was used to power the mill, this would have been rotating. Water would be dripping everywhere, and this would have been a very dangerous place to be. These are the vanes on the outside of the wheel that catch the water and impart the turning motion. It is currently undergoing maintenance and shut down, but it still works and still provides the plant with power after all these years. This is a large pinion gear at the end of the water wheel that turns this large vertical shaft, sending power to the upper floors of the mill. This area is the basin where one of the first water wheels was once installed. Water came over this spillway onto the wheel, causing it to turn, and back to the river out that way. This equipment dates from the mill's steam power era. This is the mill's largest steam engine, still functioning. I am not sure exactly what is going on here. Here's the end of one of the large boilers that once made steam for the mill. Let's see what's down below. I am guessing nominal operating pressure was around 160 psi. The mill installed its first steam engine in 1810. A few years later, another was installed after it was realized that steam engines could produce power year-round, as well as when the river was low. Today, the mill has the most powerful working iron water wheel in Europe. And the premises are complete with a cafe to sit and have a cup of tea or coffee. This massive piece of metal is the cast iron center axle of one of the water wheels. In the distance there is the River Bolan pouring over the weir. That was a fun and informative day out here in Cheshire. Definitely worth the time. Time to call it a day, and remember, life is a journey. Enjoy the ride. And thank you for watching.